Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez.
I'm Hillary Rodriguez.
And we're here with the next section of our top 50 games of all time. This time, covering numbers 30 through 21. We're right in the middle of greatness. So, go for it.
Jumping in. Number 30. My number 30 is going to be Dead Men Tell No Tales. It's a co-op game where you are pirates that are boarding a ship that you just destroyed, and so the ship is on fire. And once you get on board, you have not only do you have to deal with the fire to try and steal all the treasure, but you also have a bunch of undead that you have to battle for the treasure. It's a really fun game. There's a lot of different aspects that go on. There's different characters that you can play as, and each character has a special ability. There's also items that help you out, and you can trade out items. And it's a little bit of luck involved because it's a living board game. So the map will come out as you're playing it. So you might not know exactly where you're gonna have to go. And then also, since the ship is on fire, the ship can explode and it can destroy building parts of the ship. And so you might end up getting kind of stuck because your way out exploded, and so then you can't escape the ship that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is a super fun game. Its DNA is kind of similar to Pandemic, but it has a lot of cool twists on that formula that really help it stand out. I think I really like that one a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know we've kind of talked about the theme games that we're always kind of on the hunt for, and pirate games is one of mine that I don't know exactly what it is I'm looking for in a pirate game, but I definitely there's a core pirate game that I really want to find, and this isn't it, but it is a really fun pirate game.
Yeah. All right, my number 30. I feel like if I'm not careful, I'm going to be able to do a top 10 games that I have the physical copy of that I've only played digitally. But that is Blood Rage. I know, it took me a long time. I finally played it this year. I do have the physical copy, though. I played it on Board Game Arena. And, wowie, I finally get it. I finally know what it's all about. You're playing Vikings, essentially, and Ragnarok has come. And so you're going out and doing battle and trying to die gloriously if you die, and trying to take land and eventually get to Yggdrasil and take that too. A lot of taking these things. But it is fantastic. You get cool monsters out on the board. The battle system is really neat where you're playing face down cards. You're not sure what the other person has, and then you flip them over and you see how it all shakes out. You can get into some big crazy brouhahas over certain areas. It's just fun. Certain areas kind of disappear as time goes on because they've been destroyed in the whole Ragnarok process. Man, Eric Lang, you make good games, sir. I don't think you're watching, but if you are, I don't know if anyone's told you. Probably they have a lot of times. But you make great games. This is absolutely no exception to that. Blood Rage is my number 30.
My number 29 is another game that we got introduced to when we were up at Odd Mall, and that's going to be Vamp on the Batwalk. The concept of it is that you're vampires playing on a fashion show, but vampires can't see their own reflection in the mirror, so it's a little hard for them to get dressed for the fashion show. And so it's a cute little game, and the thing that makes this game a little bit different is that you have your hand of cards, but you don't actually know what your hand is. You hold your hand up so that all the rest of the players see what your cards are, but you do not. And so it's a little bit of a deduction game. So you're going to play you can see what the other players have in their hand, so you can kind of take a guess at what cards you might have in your hand, and try and pick a card off of that. And it's a fun game. It's a quick game. We actually played with our 11-year-old, and she seemed to really enjoy it, up until I accidentally stole the show from her twice in a row. I felt real bad for doing that, but it's also, it's a kind of a luck game, so I didn't know what I was drawing. I just happened to have good luck in the cards that I picked, but it's a fun, cute game.
It really is. I also really like the art in that one. It's a little cartoon. It kind of reminds me, I always say, it looks like if someone told the Vampire the Masquerade people they had to make an animated series of it, but it had to be okay for kids. Like, this is probably what they would come up with.
Yeah, it might have been beyond your time, but it kind of reminds me of the 90s Beetlejuice cartoon.
I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not too much, but yeah. Excellent stuff. All right, my number 29 is a game that we've talked about before. That is Aeon's End. It is a cool cooperative deck builder, which has a lot of expansions, but I still need to play more of the base game to decide if I want those expansions. But with the amount I've played of the base game, I think I'm probably going to want those expansions. You know, whether it adds heroes to play as, which are all different, or it adds monsters, which are all different. Wow, it's a cool game. I held off on this one for way too long because I saw a review and I saw the art, and for some reason in the review I didn't think the art looked good. And I don't know if they changed the art or if it just was like, it was too small on the screen for my old eyes. I don't know. But when I see it in person, I really like the art a lot. So I don't know what the heck that was. Anyway, really, really neat game with some, I mean, you could call it like a basic deck builder, but it has a lot of cool twists to it that I think really set it apart from the rest. So I'm dying to get into that one a little deeper and probably let a lot of cities fall as I fail to stop the monsters. But anyway, that's why number 29, Aeon's End.
My number 28 is going to be Familiar Tales. This is a campaign game, and so we haven't gotten very far in the campaign yet, but I'm excited to get further into the game. Basically, you are playing as some wizards familiars, and you have been put in charge of taking care of a baby. And this baby will grow up throughout the game as you play. And so the game changes as the baby grows up. And things that you do in the game will kind of help determine what kind of person that child becomes.
Yeah, one thing I really like about that is the app is like fully narrated.
Yeah.
And it does such a good job at bringing these characters to life. It's
I really appreciate that they took the time and the money to actually have voice actors do a lot of work in the app. When we played Descent, that was one of my critiques about it, is that I wish they had utilized the voice actors more.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, that's a great one. Okay, my number 28, oddly enough, was my number 28 last time, so that's kind of weird here in the middle of the list, but it's consistent, so that's great. And that game is Spirit Island. It is a co-op in which there are colonizers going to try to take over an island and sell it for themselves, but you're not playing those colonizers, which is great. My goodness. You are playing the spirits that the people of the island worship or follow or something, and you're trying to scare the colonizers away. But those guys just keep coming. But you have cool powers. You have like slow powers and fast powers. And it's really fairly complicated. And the nice thing about it being fairly complicated is that it's very hard for there to be quarterbacking in this game because, man, someone would have to know all that stuff real, real well. And the different spirits are all very different from each other. By now there's like a bunch of expansions that I do not have that bring even more possibilities to the game. There's also a new version of it that's in Target. I think it's called Horizons of Spirit Island. It's the same rule set, but I think they use spirits that are not as complicated on the rules, and it doesn't have like the modular board and doesn't have quite as nice pieces, but it's a lot cheaper. So if you've been on the fence about it and not sure if that's something you want to delve into, that's a great way to do it because much cheaper cost of entry, and it is the same game. So if you play it and you like it, you can then move on to like the bigger game, and the spirits are all, you can mix them up and do all kinds of stuff. Just a fantastic, really deep game. That's my number 28, Spirit Island.
Number 27. My number 27 is going to be Defenders of the Realm. It plays very similar to Pandemic, except for it's a little bit heavier and it's fantasy themed. I actually like this game. If we have the time, I prefer this game over Pandemic because it dives a little bit deeper. It has a little bit more rules. I feel like I'm doing more on my turn. I also just like the fantasy theme. But basically you have 4 different leaders of bad guys that are moving from the outskirts and trying to take over the central city. And you're trying to defeat them and keep them at bay until you can defeat all of them so that they don't overrun the city.
Yeah, I prefer this one over Pandemic too. I like having to deal with those big guys charging towards the middle. And something that some people may not like is like for some actions, like when you're attacking, you have to roll dice to succeed.
Yeah.
I can understand why people may not always prefer that if they want it to be more like, okay, if I go here, I know I can do this thing. But I really like it because it puts that fantasy thing. It makes you feel like it's like D&D, but on like a way zoomed back scale. It's a lot of fun. I like that one a lot too. My number 27. Hey, Eric Lang. Remember 3 spots ago when I said you make good stuff? You do. Here's another example. I will say this though. He has this trilogy of games, right? You have Blood Rage, which I talked about minutes ago. We have Rising Sun and Ankh, right? These are all games in which there are gods or you're gods and you're doing stuff. Anyway, in this game, you don't have gods. You have the Godfather, Corleone's Empire. Honestly, I realize thematically it makes no sense, but this game should be spoken about in the same breath as those games because it is fantastic. It is a worker placement game, kind of area control game too. You are trying to have an incredible criminal empire. You have to keep the Don happy by giving him some money at the end, but you can hide some away for yourself in these cool little tin briefcases. You can throw your opponents in the river. You can throw them in the East River. It's so good. I've never watched The Godfather. It's been a year. I still haven't watched The Godfather because this is on my I would watch The Godfather. I just haven't. I haven't. You don't have to know The Godfather. You just have to have a vague understanding of what the mafia is, basically. And you could get into this game. So fantastic. One of Eric Lang's best. Hey, Eric Lang. You make good stuff, buddy. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's fun. So anyway, wow. That's my number 27, Godfather Corleone's Empire.
All right, 26. My number 26 is going to be Citrus. It's a Cyberpunk game that just passed its crowdfunding goal, and so hopefully it'll be coming out in retail if you didn't back it. But it's a really fun game. You have you're playing as one of the mob bosses in the underground, and you're trying to get it so that your people can make their way up to the upper level and be where it's nice and where all the people with the money are at. And so it's a fun game, and there's a lot of different moving parts to it. But it's a game where like you can try and kind of focus. There's a lot of different ways that you can try and focus to try and win the game. So it's not just one specific way is going to win the game for you. And I really appreciate games that are that way because I like being able to try different ways of winning and figuring out what way works best for me.
Yeah, me too. I am super stoked for when my copy comes. Like all these games that we do, because we did a review for it. Definitely go check that out. Mm-hmm. When we do this Kickstarter reviews, we don't do a score because the game's not like fully done yet, so we don't feel like it's fair to.
Yeah.
We may have to do like quick revisit videos on some of these and give them a score because as long as it didn't somehow get terribly messed up between the prototype or early version we played and the final thing, which I'm sure it did not, I got some things to say about this score. But spoiler, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Such a good game. My number 26 moved up a whopping 7 spaces from last year. I have played my physical copy of this, but I haven't played it in last year. But what I have done is I played it several times on Board Game Arena, and that is Res Arcana. This is an engine building game where you play as a wizard of some type, and you're basically just getting items and abilities of different forms of magic and sometimes locations as well to get your engine going. The only thing that's really at all tough about this is you have to get used to the iconography, but it's not really that hard to get the hang of. And it's a beautiful, beautiful game. I really like it a lot. I want to get the expansions that are out for it because I think it'll add some cool new twists to it. But, man, it's just good. It's good. We need to play our physical one again. I remember it spread out quite a lot as we started getting more and more pieces. We need to make sure we have room now. I think we tried to play in a smaller space than we really needed for it. But fantastic game. If you haven't seen it, really check it out if you like engine builders because it's wonderful. So that is my number 26, Res Arcana.
Okay. Number 25. My number 25 is Cascadia. It's a area control, kind of almost puzzle-like game where you have your map pieces that have different geographic locations on it that you have to be able to match up, and then you get animal tokens that you can place on different tiles, and each animal wants a different thing, so you have to kind of puzzle it out to try and get the best score. And it's, as he was saying when he talked about it, it's a game that's easy enough that our 7-year-old was able to pick up the concept of it. Like, she didn't understand all the nuances of, like, placing the animals where they need to go, but she understood the game enough that with just a little bit of help, she'd be able to play it. For this to be Randy Flynn's first published game and Ori winning some really big awards, he's definitely a game designer that I think you should keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with the stuff so far. It's crazy. Sometimes someone, I'm sure he's done plenty of designs, before, but like some people just seem to pop on the scene. It's like they're amazing.
Yeah.
From the get-go, and he's definitely one of them. All right, my number 25 is a game that we reviewed recently. It is Tavern Masters. This is a game in which you are trying to have the nicest tavern that gets the most customers, that pay you the most money, or it is a game in which you and several other taverns are kind of working together so you can all be successful. You can play it cooperative or competitively is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. It's great either way. I think I prefer the competitive version a bit. It's super light. Like, it's easy to get the hang of. I think there's a lot of luck in it, but that's okay because it's not a really long game, and it just feels, I don't know, to me it just feels really good and rewarding to build up a cool tavern and see the patrons that come in and try to, woo them with your heavy metal dwarf and like all that other stuff. I really dig it. There's a ton of little expansions that we really need to try because I want to see what they add to this because I'm happy as is with the base game, but man, I want to see what more they can squeeze into this thing. Yeah, it's really good.
I agree. Number 24. My number 24 is going to be Dwellings of Elderville. It's a worker placement game, and as you're playing it, you unlock other characters. So you can unlock other workers, you can unlock a dragon, you can unlock a wizard. There's, I think, warriors as well. And you're trying to expand out and discover new places, but then there's also giant monsters roaming around. And so you either have to try to avoid them or fight them. At some point, you're also going to turn your workers into dwellings. And so you start losing your ability to do as much as you're playing it as well. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into when you want to convert your workers and how many workers you want to collect and all that stuff. And there's a lot of different races that you can play as. And they all play differently as well. So there's a lot of different changes and different feels that you can do with this game. And the token boards that come with it is amazing. If you are a person that's really big on organizing your games, this game does a fantastic job for you.
Yeah, it really does. You could be like, oh, I'm going to be like that red faction. Like, oh, here's your tray. Pop it open. That's everything you need. Boom. You got it. I mean, it's so good. It's so pretty. And it keeps coming into print and then selling out very, very quickly. I will say, if they have all the options available, you don't need the sound bases, but you need the sound bases. It's fantastic.
They're fun.
They're great. My number 24 is a game that you've heard of. I think if you're watching a board game top 50, you've heard of it by this point, I think. It is Ark Nova. In this game, you are competing with other players to have the most successful zoo, and you're getting all kinds of animals into your enclosures. You're, of course, building the enclosures. You're making connections with like other countries and various kinds of experts, and anything you can imagine a zoo doing, you're pretty much doing in this game. It's a fairly heavy game. I've heard when you play it like at full player count, it gets quite long, maybe too long, but that's okay when you play it solo. It goes really fast, actually, which is great. And it is very good solo. Gosh, I really, really like this game a lot. I just find it so satisfying to build up a cool zoo and just watch it grow and watch the various things you get added to it. And I'm like imagining my zoo coming to life. God, it's so fantastic. The only knock I have on it really is that the deck of cards that you use is so big that sometimes you might have games where you just can't get the stuff that you need.
Yeah.
But my understanding is they're coming out with, well, they're for sure coming out with an expansion that has aquatic animals, but my understanding is there's a lot of things in there that let you cycle through the deck more. So that might actually erase that problem entirely. I'm not sure. And even, I say it's a problem, but like, it's not dissuading me from liking this game. It's just like, it'd be cool if it somehow didn't go that way, but at the same time, I also don't want to cut down on the animals and all that stuff. So it's just really neat. So that's my number 24, Arc Nova.
Number 23. My number 23 is Disney Villainous. Being a Disney fan, the theme I really enjoy the theme, but I also just think it's a really fun game. I really appreciate just how much effort they put into making each villain play so differently from each other. The Fate deck adds the different heroes that you can play against your opponent. Adds a whole lot because there's a lot of strategy in when to play a Fate card against your opponent and where you put the Fate card, because when you put the Fate card down, it blocks off the top part of their map, and so they can't use half of their actions on that space when you put the Fate deck card down there until they deal with that card. And so you can really mess up your opponent's plans by placing down those heroes. And I just think it's a lot of fun. And I really, really enjoy the character little meeples because they aren't the characters themselves, but they take a lot of the essence of the character. So it incorporates like the character's color and like a couple key components. So like Ursula's purple with tentacles, Captain Hook is red with a hook and a hat. And so even though it's not the character themselves, just by looking at the maple, you can tell who that villain's supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I also really like the art in this. It's not just like screen grabs from the movie. They actually made all new art for this, but it's really beautifully done. I really like it a lot. So my number 23, I almost wasn't sure if I should put this on the list because you cannot get this game. I don't mean it's hard to get or it's out of print. Like right now, as we record this, you can't get this game. It was a Kickstarter game that I don't know if he just canceled it or if it didn't fund or what. It is coming to Kickstarter again, at least that's the current plan, sometime in 2023. And I want you to look at it when it does. This game is Merchants of Infinity. So this game has you on a space station playing as, you might have guessed, a merchant. And you have various orders to fulfill and you're kind of going around the whole place trying to get that done. You're trying to get the items that you need. You may decide to take out loans. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you do in this game. And one of the neat things that I thought I was going to hate when I first read the rules is the player turn order thing. It changes every round, and the way it's decided is with this like a mini card game, because you're supposed to be all at like the tavern or whatever playing this game of cards before you go out and start your day. I thought that was not going to be good. I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. It's super simple. It's really simple, but what a neat way and a thematic way to get this game going. Gosh, listen. You need to back this game when it comes on Kickstarter. My God. It's really, really good. If you don't like games that are kind of on like the light medium end, okay, but it's so dang good. Like I said, I don't know what happened last time. We cannot let this happen again, people. Listen, when this shows up on Kickstarter, back it. Just back it. Back first and then read about it. Back it. It is so good. I absolutely love it. I want to feel those big chunky plastic meeples in my hand again. Don't ruin this for me. Back this game. You have to back this game. It is so good. it is. If I can afford to back it enough times to make it reach its goal so that I can make sure I get this game, I would do that. But I'm not that rich, so I need your help. Back this game when it comes to Kickstarter. Merchants of Infinity. Merchants of Infinity. Merchants of Infinity.
Back it.
Back it.
Alright. Number 22. My number 22 is going to be Cowboy Bebop Space Serenade. If you like the anime, I think you will really enjoy this game a lot. It really brings the anime feel to the game. You are playing as the characters from the Bebop, and you're going around collecting different bounties from 3 of the different planets. And it's a deck building game, and there's special powers that each player has, and some of the powers you can, other players can use your power, but then there's some powers that are just for you. And the thing that I like about the actual deck building aspect of this game is that, like a lot of the other deck builders, there can be bonus chains that you get based off the cards you play. But the way they did it is that it really encourages you to collect cards from all 4 players. It's not just, oh, I'm Faye, so I'm going to focus just on getting the Faye cards. It really encourages you to get all 4 characters' cards. And it's basically a competitive game, but as soon as Vicious comes out, then it kind of becomes, okay, everybody get Vicious, because if he escapes, then everybody loses the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I am still amazed in that, like, how much, like, because every card you get is associated with one of the characters, and how much they really, like, I think they really tried to tie them to, like, what those characters are like, or wherever possible. They did such a good job on this one. It's fantastic. I had no idea when I bought it if it would be good, and I'm so glad at how it turned out. It's really amazing. All right, my number 22 went up 17 spots. And I think that is because of American Monsters. This is Horrified. I'm covering both regular Horrified and American Monsters because they really are the same game. The monsters do all play differently, though, so that's good. I think all the investigators are pretty much the same as each other, but
there's a few slight differences, but they are very similar.
Yeah, and the map is, of course, different. But whichever flavor you like, it's such a cool cooperative game. It's very thematic. It's so fun to run around, and, like, you're trying to, like, lead these villagers to, like, wherever they're trying to go and try to keep them from getting killed, because the monsters will absolutely kill them. In the meantime, you're trying to, like, figure out what you have to do to defeat each monster, because everyone is very, very different. So, I mean, it's up to you whether you like the universal monsters or if you like the cryptids better. Honestly, I think it's perfectly fine to have both, because it's just a different challenge, and it's either way, it's awesome.
Yeah, all the monsters play so differently from each other that you could, if you like them, you really can have both in your collection.
For sure.
Number 21. My number 21 is going to be Unmatched. There's all sorts of different versions of it out now, so you can really kind of just pick which theme kind of fits for you the best. But it's a fun kind of tactical game where you're moving your monster or your miniatures around and trying to knock out your opponent before they knock you out. And it's just a fun, quick game.
Yeah, it's super awesome. And they really make each character feel very different, which is always fantastic and that kind of thing. My number 21... Hey, Eric Lang. Listen, it's been a while. I just want you to know, I still think you make great games. Now, you weren't the lone designer on this, but I'm calling you out specifically on this one. This is Cthulhu Death May Die. This is a fantastic cooperative game. Cthulhu Mythos, obviously. You're in a big mansion. You're dealing with whatever the heck the situation is that's come up that is bad. But you start the game crazy. Like, none of you are doing well at the beginning of the game. And as you go and you experience more horrors, you get crazier. But you also get more abilities unlocked as you go. But you can't go fully crazy because you'll die. Well, you won't die, but you'll be so crazy it doesn't matter. But it's such a unique balancing act. It's much more fighty than other Cthulhu games. Like, you're going in there to kick some Cthulhu butt. You're not going in there to cower in the corner and avoid things. You're in there to, like, you're going to dish out some damage. One of my favorite things in this game that is also goofy, and maybe some people don't like it, is that you can get the monsters to kind of chase you around, and you can end up with, like, you and, like, 6 other monsters that are all, I mean, 2 of them wouldn't fit in this space, that they're all, like, piled into this broom closet or something.
Yeah.
And, like, there's no way you could all fit in there, but, I mean, it's the Cthulhu myth, so who knows, maybe. Either way, it's things like that are just, it's such a cool game. They're coming out with a 3rd season of it. I wish I thought I was going to get this game reviewed before that happens. I don't think I will, because I think they're doing it real soon, but it is a wonderful, wonderful co-op Cthulhu game. Can't recommend it enough. I don't know that you necessarily need the 3-foot Cthulhu model. It's quite pricey. I would like to see that up next to my 3-foot Galactus model. So, but I will not do that. But if you have one and want to bring it over, I mean, that'd be cool. All right. Anyway, that is my number 21, Cthulhu Death May Die. And I think that's it, right?
That's it for this one.
All right. We got 30 through 21. We're getting close. 2 more episodes to go, because I know math. And we will get to our number 1 games all the time. But really, all these games are fantastic.
Yep.
So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time I put out a video. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all around the table again at All Games New and Old.
Bye.
If you enjoyed that video, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
If you like any of our videos, what you should do is click this little button to subscribe so you'll know about the next time we put out a video.
We'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.